Hello, hello. Hopefully that's all working. If you're watching, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Are you in your car, at work, on your lunch break, sitting at home? Let me know. Oh, here goes my camera. That's a good start, isn't it? These cell phones don't want to stand up. Is that better, everybody? Can you see me now? Not falling over sideways, hopefully. Right, so if you are going to watch this on the replay, just make sure you still say hi, leave a comment, say hello. You can tag it with hashtag replay as well, because then I'll be able to go back later and find what you've said and your comment and be able to come in and say hi. So for those of you who are new to this space, I'm Rose. I'm really passionate about holistic health and women's holistic health in particular. I am also a woman running 2 businesses. I'm a wife, I'm a mum, I swear a lot. So I don't know if that resonates for any of you out there. I also get nervous doing this kind of thing, but what's that saying? Do something every day that scares you, right? So here we go. But I'm fucking excited to chat about this topic, about beating the overwhelm, because I think it's really super fucking important. It's something I've battled myself in my life. I'm really passionate about helping women to deal with it and overcome it in their life. Our modern lives are full on so many different levels, and so it just is something that really is important, and I hope it really resonates with you. Yeah, so just while we're getting ready to go, got my essential oils on, you know, to just stay grounded, not talk too fast, hopefully. Dogs are sitting here with me asleep because they're needy and they follow me everywhere I go. All right, so just, I think we'll get on into it. Hey. Okay, so what I want to do first is take a deep breath, because I had to before I pushed live on this video. And I want you to imagine what your life could look like. And if you want to close your eyes, that's fine. I can't see you. Imagine that overwhelmed feeling could just be gone. Your alarm goes off in the morning. You don't need to hit snooze 3 times. You get up, you feel clear-headed, you feel fresh. When you finish your workday, you're still feeling full of life. Those things that are left on your to-do list aren't weighing you down. Your time at home with your family is connected. It's fun. You feel relaxed. How does that feel on the inside? I know for me personally, life used to be anything but that. I was in a fog all day long. I was permanently exhausted. I had 0 patience with my family. And really, I spent a lot of my free time like a zombie, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, well, let's face it, a bottle of wine in one hand and scrolling on my phone in the other. I ultimately really just wanted to be left alone. Now, for those of you who've been with me for a while, you'll know a bit more about my backstory. I'll put the link in the comments to this that I've written on my website for those of you who are a bit new around here, and you can read about that. So ultimately now, what I'm really fucking passionate about is helping women to unearth themselves and help you to unearth yourself from beneath all of that, helping you to make the changes so that you can love your life, that you can be that magical, beautiful being on the inside and out, because ultimately you are. And I'm wanting to help basically just dust you off and let you shine just as you are. Now, in today's live, what we're talking about is banishing the overwhelm. And essentially it's because life is busy, right? And it's this vicious cycle. So you feel overwhelmed. You don't have any time in your day to look after yourself. And so you feel more overwhelmed because you're not looking after yourself. And it just goes round and round and round and round, right? Hope that's resonating for some of you. Hi, Mons. Hi, Cassie. Just seeing that you guys are here. Awesome. Thank you. So ultimately, I like to take the approach that things, they need to be simple for us to be able to actually put it in place in our life, especially for women. Small steps, we know, they add up to really big changes, but just trying to magically wave a wand right now and change everything in your life is not sustainable. No one can do that. So let's get into some actual real life tools, right? Tips, tricks. Okay, so ultimately, let's start with the most simple thing in our life. Hey, Missy, just seeing that you're here too. Thanks for coming. So first thing we're going to start with is our breathing, right? We all think we do it properly, but we actually don't breathe properly most of the time. It sounds silly, but it's true. Now, I'm going to walk you through how we can do something. You can do it with me right now. It's really simple, and it's something that's really, really helped me. So essentially, it's how to breathe. So drop those shoulders, ladies, because they're often like way up around our ears when we're overwhelmed. So drop your shoulders down. That's the first step. And then we're going to use the power of 2. So what I want you to do is breathe in for 2, really deep, push that belly out, get that air all the way down. Then what you're going to do is you're going to hold it for 2. And then after you've held it for 2 counts, your 2 counts, then you're going to do a big push out for 2 and really use your belly to push it all the way out. So essentially it's in for 2, hold for 2, out for 2. Simple, right? But it helps on a physiology level because ultimately you're getting oxygen into your body, you're getting it into your bloodstream. When we're stressed, overwhelmed, we tend to breathe really shallow, really fast, you know, that feeling of needing to yawn all the time. And that technique helps us to center ourselves, bring us back to a point of focus, and which is often what we need, just to rest our minds somewhere, feel like we're taking that moment just to slow down in the storm that's probably going round in our being, you know. And ultimately, you can just take this with you, do it anywhere, anytime, use it as like, it's almost like your overwhelmed first aid kit, right? That you can just use it. You can do whatever you want. So, tip number 1. Now, next is something that we also tend as women to really neglect when we're overwhelmed, and it's that need to loosen up your body and move your body, right? That tension, it just gets all up in us, and that's part of why our shoulders get up here. And so it's just freeing up tension in your body and releasing all those feel good stimulus, you know, in your body. I'm a huge believer though in doing what is right for you. It's not a one size fits all, right? So it doesn't have to look like smashing it out in gym classes. It doesn't need to look like training for a triathlon. It doesn't have to be 5 a.m. boot camps in the park down the road, right? It is simply just doing what works for you. And often when we're in that state of overwhelm and stress, actually the biggest favor you can do your body is to be gentle. And I know it sounds really counterintuitive when you think I need to move my body. It's often so tied up in being really super active, but often when you're in overwhelm, that cortisol level, your stress levels in your body, they're high, and you just need to do gentle things. That's all you need to do. It's simple. Things like walking, yoga, dancing, Those are all things that essentially you can do in your own home for free, anytime, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can fit into your life that is going to work best for you is the best starting point. And ultimately for me, that's something I use. I don't do a lot of high impact exercise by any means. I do heaps of walking, and it's what really works for me, and it helps me, and it just moves your body, right? Put on your favorite music while you're cooking dinner and just like dance around your kitchen. I mean, it's just making it fun. It's something that's sustainable, and it's something that's fun. So the other thing, the mindless scrolling that we were talking about earlier, right? Now, my next tip for you is really a social media detox. Now, I know that might sound really odd coming from me because I get it. I run online business, you know, I rely on social media. Look at what we're doing right here, right now. But ultimately, even if you are that person who isn't active on social media, you don't post anything very often, you're not using it to share anything, you're just doing the mindless scroll, you're just reading, watching, that sort of carry on. It's just the comparison game. It affects our self-worth, it affects our feelings of overwhelm, it affects how we feel in relation to the people we're watching. You know, it's all connected. And so watching that highlight reel of other people's lives, their holidays, their kids, their milestones, it's a highlight reel. And it's not that you're not supporting those really important people in your life, because you are, but ultimately so much of what we end up consuming is, we've all got these people that we actually don't know them, we don't speak to them, but we know so bloody much about them because we're just consuming their highlight reel all the time, and it's pointless. It's not doing your soul any good. So for me, I actually took a really massive break from social media in January, and it was the best thing I could have done. I felt so good after it. At the time, I was kind of freaking out. But afterwards, I just thought, no, you know, there's more to life, and it's really, really important that I have taken this time, and I have chosen now to be way more mindful about how I use my social media, how intentional I am. And so that's something that just taking that complete detox away from it and just even not engaging with it is, honestly, it's a really good one. So in terms of talking about that mindset sort of stuff, that's another really big game changer for helping with overwhelm. It plays our mindset plays a really big part in how we process that stress and that overwhelm. And because there will always be stress in our lives, right? Unfortunately, it's always going to come in some shape or form. So it's really how we learn to process it and handle it. So I'm a big believer in that saying, I don't know if you've heard it before, called change your mind, change your life. Change your mind, change your life. Now, essentially what it comes down to is framing everything in your life with the thought of, how can I look at this differently? What is this teaching me, right? So rather than choosing to let it build up and build up and build up, we're looking at it through a different set of glasses. A really good example of that, my mother, who I love endlessly, when she gets stressed, that is the first thing to go, right? She sees something really small and it's suddenly like the world has fallen down. And I can be standing there next to her and look at it and go, it's not that big a deal. We just do this, this, and this, sort it. And it's only because I'm looking at it with a different mindset. And the same goes the other way around. I can get really stressed about something and she can look at it and say to me, no need to get stressed about this. It's a really simple solution. You just can't see it because the overwhelm is in your way. So reframe. That's the best way you can look at it. It's just to think, how can I look at this differently? And what is this teaching me? it will either be teaching you how to resolve it in a different way, look at it in a different way. There's all sorts of awesome solutions that can come out of challenging moments in our life, right? So another example for those of you who've got big commutes to work, for example, is, you know, the traffic's fucking chaos on the way to work every day. You're always stuck in traffic. It really grinds your gears. You get to work and that stress is already built up because some fucker cut you off on the way to work, and that's all built up inside you. That's not going to change. You can't control the traffic, right? But what you can control is how you look at it. If you are given that time every single day or most days that you're commuting, choose to think how you can start your day differently by using that time that is given to you. If you think about it like that time is being given to you, then you can look at it in the way of, you could listen to podcasts, for example. You could listen to Audible and listen to books, because especially for us women, we don't have a lot of time to sit down and read. It's kind of a luxury thing in our life if we enjoy reading. So listening to things while you're driving, put on your hands-free kit in your cell phone and ring someone that you haven't talked to in a while, you know, connect on a human level using that time, because chances are your best mate might also be stuck in traffic and probably wants somebody to talk to about it. So, you know, there's positives. And really, it's just programming ourselves. It's not something we're taught usually, and it's not something that we learn as we grow up, unless we're really fortunate to have that environment around us. So it's something you have to work on every day, really. And the really good news is that we can program ourselves and we can teach our brain new ways of thinking. We can build new connections. We can learn. We can build experiences just by using that power of visualizing a different way of living, or by the power of positive sort of approaches to things, looking at things in a different way. There's really fascinating studies have been done on things like, if you were to, say, go and learn really intensive piano courses and physically play the piano in coaching or lessons, compared to someone who has spent time just visualizing, not actually ever playing the piano, but visualizing it, then the brain still makes the exact same connections, and the brain builds all the same patterns for the person who actually sat there and physically learned to play the piano, as opposed to the person who just visualized playing it and never actually play it. The brain thinks of it in the same way, which I find really fucking fascinating. Don't know about you, but I think it's really cool. So that was our mindset stuff. Now, another biggie for helping to beat the overwhelm or banish the overwhelm, how we can use food as a tool, right? And you guys know this is something I'm really, really into. Our food affects our mood, right? It's one of the things that I love working with women to help them kind of work out what foods are causing you to feel the way you do. For a lot of people, you know, that there will be a connection there with the way the food affects their mood. For example, for me, one of the things that I worked out with my foods was I had realized that peanut butter, of all things, was really affecting me mood-wise. I hadn't had it for a really long time. I started bringing it back into my diet, and I had consistently 2 weeks after eating it where I was just low, down, blue, all of those heavy emotions. And the only thing consistently every time that it was happening was that I had been eating peanut butter every day. And it's weird, but it just is. And I know for myself in my own heart that that was something that really was affecting me. So don't know if you guys have ever experienced something like that, but yeah, it's our food affects our mood big time. And I mean, the classic is alcohol, right? We all know the party time is good, the come down, not so good. Yeah, so what we put in our bodies affects our mood. and it's often delayed, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that has created that mood. But once you strip it back and work on those levels, often it's working out what underneath there is the foods or the things that have been affecting you. And so with that concept of what is known as bioindividuality, that is essentially the concept that one woman's food is another woman's poison. And we are all so genetically diverse and magical and amazing, and we are powerful superhuman beings on the inside, right? Our bodies are incredible. What they do every day is phenomenal when you think about it at the functional, chemical, everything level. Yet we are sold constantly the lines that we should be eating this way, that way, you should eat heaps of protein, you should do low carb, you should fast for 2 days a week, right? We're sold these big mass messages. And ultimately, human nature is we're all looking for a quick fix, right? We want a quick solution. We want something to happen fast and now, and especially when we're busy, we want something that's going to be a real, quick response and reaction. So I know myself, I've been there plenty of times in my life. It wasn't until I looked at the bigger picture of holistic health and started to pulling at those threads of what was going on for me. And I had to unravel 30 years of eating in a way that didn't suit my body at all. So it's never going to be a quick fix. 30 years of something going in that wasn't right for me, but wasn't necessarily bad, but just not the optimal for me. Good examples in my family. My mother, she lives on bread, cheese, and wine. Those are like her 3 food groups. And my father lives on potatoes, steak, and coffee. But I don't eat any of those things now. They don't work for me. I know through trial and error that for my body and me personally, it might as well be poison. And you guys who have been around a while know my issues with coffee and how I love it, but it wasn't working for me. And now I'm in a place where I can have one, but any more than that, it's a shit show. My body can't handle it, and it's awful. But it's taken a while, and it's taken a long process of unraveling it all. And I'm definitely not saying that how I eat is how anyone else should eat, right? That's not what I'm about. But what I am about and what I am passionate about is helping other women to find what works best for them. And it can be a really emotional, long process. I mean, it has been in my past. But ultimately, the best thing to remember is that everything always changes. Everything is in flux in our lives. Nothing will ever stay the same. And you might find that once you start going into your own bioindividuality, that things keep changing as you peel back the layers to what's going on for you. I like to say it's kind of like we all used to be 18-year-old bodies, right? And we knew for a certainty 100% that we were 18 in every single part of our body. Oh, Instagram, don't go out on me, Instagram, are you there? I don't know, hopefully everyone on Instagram can still see me. Let me know if you can. It just told me that it had a poor connection, so I hope not. But anyway, what I was saying is that at some point in our life, we were all 18, right? And we knew wholeheartedly 100% that we were 18-year-olds. And now I know I can't find any trace in this body of 18-year-old me, but it doesn't mean I wasn't that body. And it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that my body now is any better or worse. It's just different. And it's changed. And that's just life. We age. It's just human nature. So that's really ultimately where those differences in our life and as we change through life are really important to look at and to know and to get to know what is good for you, basically. So in terms of using food as a tool to beat overwhelm or banish overwhelm, I like to keep it really simple. Essentially, it's just going back to basics. It's using whole foods, right? It's using foods that are cooked from scratch in their natural state, or as near to possible being cooked from scratch in their natural state. It's just the way our bodies tend to work the best, and that's generally what I really passionately believe in. Really, when it comes down to it, additives, preservatives, chemicals, they're not food. We all know that, right? And unfortunately, so much of the food we buy, we know that if you turn the packet over and look at the ingredients label, how many things in there are like names that you can't even pronounce, or numbers, you know, and those things are not food. They're put in there for various reasons by the companies producing that food. But if you grab a banana from the fresh fruit section, or for your grocer, we know exactly what's in that, and we know, you know, that it's got certain properties that are good for us. Might not work for some people can't have bananas, but you know, it ultimately, we know what's in there. It's not had stuff added to it. Another thing to think about is, we, particularly when we are, you know, having an emotional connection to how we deal with our overwhelm in terms of using food emotionally, flavor can be a really big thing that we look for. We look for that instant hit of flavor, and we go, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to get that bag of chips because they're cheese flavored and I fucking love that flavor, you know. But once that initial gratification of flavor is gone, think about the next 2 days of your body has got to process that thing that is not food. You know, ultimately what it comes down to. And, you know, particularly for women, and something that is really fascinating to me, is that there are so many foods that we can use on another level that support us in terms of our hormone health, for example. We can eat in a certain way that can support our hormones. And so there's so many different layers to how we can use food as a tool. But ultimately, those are my real kind of just simple, basic things to just keep in your mind. It doesn't mean you have to change your life dramatically in terms of what you eat. It's just probably taking an extra moment to think about it, really, and think about what is going to help you with your mood and your stress and handling that in your life. So ultimately, a way to look at all of this, and that I hope might be useful for you, is think about your happiness, your success, your inner peace. Think of everything in your life as if everything touches everything, right? So you are so much more than just either how you look, what you eat. You know, the other night I posted about the fact that you can eat organic, raw, macrobiotic, paleo, keto, whatever you want to eat like. But if your head and your heart are fucking stressed all the time, it's not going to make a difference ultimately for you. And it's that concept that everything touches everything in our lives. That if you are struggling in your relationship, or if you are struggling on a spiritual level, or if you are struggling at work and you are feeling completely out of balance, all those other things that you might be putting lots of really well-intentioned energy into are going to be struggling. And that feeling of out of balance is a big part of how we feel overwhelmed and stressed, right? Feeling out of balance, feeling like we're not all together. And so that's really something that I'm really passionate about. You guys know that. And it's why I'm working with women to help them beat that overwhelm, get relief from that overwhelm. And ultimately, it's bringing more happiness back into your everyday life. So I've touched on this a little bit recently, that one of the things I'm working on at the moment is I'm working with women one-on-one, and it's super exciting. And I work with them over 6 weeks, and we dive into basically all of this sort of stuff and more on a bigger, deeper level, and a more specific level to them and women and in their specific circumstances, because like I've said, you know, it's all different for everybody, and it's really important to respect that. And so at the moment, a really big thing for me is I'm calling in six women who are magical fucking people, and they are feeling like they want to make changes in their lives. They want to get rid of the overwhelm, beat the overwhelm, banish the overwhelm, whatever you want to call it, and just start feeling like the fucking fantastic people that they know they are. And so really what we do is we work together on the holistic side of things. It's not a diet program, it's not an exercise program. And so, yeah, I just love to share it with people and love to know whether it's resonating with women particularly, because it's something that I know has resonated with me in my life, and I just love to share. And you guys know I love to share all this sort of stuff. So yeah, so basically if it is resonating with you, make sure you jump in my DMs and let me know, say hi, let me know what you think. I'd love to chat more about, if you're looking for some support, let me know, hit me up. I want to chat about it and see what, you know, I love supporting people, so let me know. And really something that I want to kind of touch on a little bit is that respecting that gut feeling that you've got. Like if you know as a woman that you have got that gut feeling that something needs to change, respect that and do something, you know, look after yourself and take that step to respond to that feeling, that gut, you know, just shit needs to change in my life. Respect that. That's your body telling you, and that's your soul telling you, and you know it deep down. So, you know, respect it, take the steps, put some of these things into practice that I've been talking about, and see, you know, what are gonna be the simple things that you can do to help make those changes for yourself and get out of that cycle of that I can't help myself, so I'm overwhelmed, and I don't have time, so I'm overwhelmed. You know, just something really simple, 1 minute, 5 minutes in your day. Start small. And another thing, that if you are watching this and feel like that you're feeling called to share it with your amazing tribe of women, because you're watching and going, I know someone who would really, really benefit from this, or watching this or hearing this, please, I would just absolutely feel so incredibly grateful if you share it with them or tag them or send it to them, because ultimately I'm all about women supporting women. And I just would feel so honored if you feel called to share it with someone that we can support them as well, because, you know, we're all a awesome tribe, and I know you women all have amazing tribes around you as well, and that you are always looking out for, you know, not just your own self and your own happiness, but we all want to support the women around us as well and ensure they're happy people too. And, you know, just that they, if you know someone, they can DM me, they can comment anyway. You know, I'd love to talk to people. I'd love to support them as well. So I think that really that is ultimately everything I wanted to share with you all today. I'm going to leave it there for now, because I think that's about a good amount of information, and we're all busy and we've all got stuff going on in our days. So going to keep it at that. What I'll do is, if you guys have got any questions, make sure you type them in the comments, and I will go through and I'll spend a bit of time responding back to comments, so that it's in that format, because then if it's typed out, you know, someone else watching this later might find something useful in that as well. So I'm so happy you guys all came along and watched this, and you're all amazing, and I love you all, and thank you so much for being here on this next step in my journey, because it's incredible to be able to share it. So it really means a lot to me that you are all here, lovely ladies. So hope you all have magical days, and I will see you soon. Bye.